Can an LLC claim homestead exemption on a property? Have you ever wondered if a limited liability company can claim a homestead exemption on property? This is a common question, especially for business owners. Let's break it down clearly. The homestead exemption is a legal provision that protects the equity in a primary residence from creditors. This means that if an individual files for bankruptcy, they can shield a certain amount of their home's value from being used to pay off debts. However, this exemption is specifically designed for individuals, not business entities like limited liability companies. When we talk about the homestead exemption, it is important to note that it applies only to properties owned and occupied by individuals as their primary residences. If a limited liability company owns a property, that property is considered a business asset. Because of this, the homestead exemption does not apply. In bankruptcy cases, individuals can claim the homestead exemption on their bankruptcy schedules. This allows them to protect their home equity from creditors. The exemption amount can vary depending on state laws. Some states even requiring a homestead declaration to be filed before a bankruptcy case is initiated. If an individual owns a property through a limited liability company, they generally cannot use the homestead exemption to protect that property during personal bankruptcy proceedings. The property is treated as owned by the limited liability company, not the individual. This distinction is vital because the homestead exemption serves as a tool for individuals to retain their primary residence. On the other hand, properties owned by limited liability companies are treated as business assets. This means they are subject to different rules and creditor claims. In practical terms, if you are an individual filing for bankruptcy and your home is owned personally, you can claim the homestead exemption to protect your equity. However, if your home is owned by a limited liability company, that property may be at risk during bankruptcy or creditor actions. To sum it up, a limited liability company cannot claim a homestead exemption on a property. The exemption is specifically intended for individual debtors and their primary residences, not for properties owned by business entities. Understanding these rules can help you make informed decisions about property ownership and bankruptcy.